In this video series, I'm going to show you several different tools to automate your workflows as a data analyst to make your life significantly easier. And this video is for you if you do a lot of manual manipulation in Excel or repetitive cleaning of data sets over and over to where you can pretty much do it with your eyes closed. This tool will help you automate a lot of those processes. And by the end of this video, you should have enough information to understand how a package works and how you can automate some of those workflows as well. So I'm going to show you with a live example here, something that I use. And what this process does is it actually takes in data and then it goes through several processes of cleaning it. So there are a lot of challenges with the data set that we're going over today. And in that data set, you will see a lot of data. There's about a gig worth of data in this CSV file as a whole. We have a couple columns here. Area FIPS, which is a 5-digit code for a county. The first two identify the state. The next three identify the county. We have ownership codes. So these are all businesses. The ownership code might be for a government entity, quasi-government entity, private entity. So there's a lot of different layers there. And you have industry codes. This is probably the biggest problem because these are all different granularities. And what I mean by that is you have industry code, say 11, which is agriculture, farming, logging, so on and so forth. So 1.1 is agriculture, 1.1.1 might be crop farming, and then 1.1.1.2 might be melon farming. All right, so when dealing with a lot of those different granularities, everything that is a 3-digit industry code will roll up into the 2-digit industry code, right? So 1.1.1, 1.1.2, 1.1.3, so on and so forth will roll up into 1.1. So you can't really sum different levels like that. It causes a lot of problems. So we need to really separate those out. And that's what this process does here. It actually separates out all of these different industry codes by their granularity. So to start things off, I'm not going to get into the indexes here. Just know that it's kind of prepping the table and then doing something else to the database later on. But we're actually we're going to focus on this data flow tab, and we're taking data from the data source, from that raw CSV file, and we're putting it into a SQL database, right? So I'm actually going to recreate this to show you that you don't need a database in order to utilize SSIS packages. You can use CSV files, Excel files, pretty much anything. So we're going to go create another data flow task here. And in this data flow task, we are going to, we'll use the source assistant. So source assistant makes life a little bit easier. If you already have a connection established, you can just select it here and it will go. And then I'm also going to make 2 outputs. We'll get to the outputs in a second. So we're going to do some data transformations with this. The first thing we're going to do is create a derived column. Now a derived column is just making an additional column that's derived off of something else. So you can aggregate fields together. You can take a subset of something. So if you have a long ID, a field with a long number in it, and you only need the middle 5 numbers, you can actually write a formula to take only those middle 5 numbers. So in derived column, we're actually going to, we're going to separate the state from the county number here. So let's drag that down, and then I'm going to name this state. And then from here, it's going to add as a new column. Now we could also replace columns here, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to add something new. And here are a lot of the different formulas. All right, so we're actually going to take the left 2 numbers, which are the state, left, just like Excel, the field we're looking for, comma, 2. Right, and that's going to take the left 2 numbers and put it in a new field, new column called state. All right. And then we're also going to split out this data. So there's a lot of different ways we can split this out, but what we really want to do is split it out based on the granularity. So I'm not going to do everything here, but I'm going to go over to industry code. Yeah, this will be case 1. So we'll call it NAICS 2. And here we're going to take another string function, right? Just like in Excel, we have the length function, which actually returns the length of a field, how many characters a field has. So we're going to say if the length of the industry code equals 2, right? So we need equal to do evaluate. Then it's going to get assigned to NAICS 2, right? And then let's do a NAICS 3. And it's where we want the length of that field to equal 3. Now the NAICS codes go all the way up to 6 digits in length. We're not going to get into that here, but we're going to split that out. All right, so now we're going to connect to our output CSVs, and to do that, we're going to go down to other destinations, flat file destination, because that is a CSV, and we're going to connect the conditional split to that output. We're going to make one NAICS 2, and we're going to make the other NAICS 3. Okay, now we see these red X's because it says, okay, I know you want to output to a flat file, but I don't know what that flat file is. So we go into there, and then we have the flat file connection manager. We're just going to hit new, add delimited for CSV, and then it's going to ask for the file name, so we just browse to that CSV file. I created 2, so test 1 will be a 2-digit NAICS. And then we have the columns, preview, okay. We also want to check column names are in the first data row, hit okay. And then we also want to take a look at mappings here. Now mappings are useful because you may have a SQL table where the area FIPS is actually called, let's say, county code, right? So here's where you can say, okay, I have a destination column called county code and I want to assign area FIPS to that. So here you can also see we have that state field that we created as well from the derived columns block. All right, so we have that one. Now we're going to connect to the other CSV file. Okay. Hit okay. Mappings. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to go back to control flow and I'm going to execute it from here. So just highlight what you want to execute, and then I'm going to execute this task. Right, and you can see it's running. And if I go back to data flow, you'll see each part that is running. So we have, the rows are going pretty fast. So it's going from the source to the derived column. We're making the change and adding that state field. It's going to the conditional split. It's evaluating the formulas that we put in, and then based on those formulas, it's splitting them out into different destinations. All right, so we don't have an output for all of the other fields, right? So if it was a 4 or 5, 6-digit NAICS, we didn't build that out, but there was an option in there for that. And this is going to take another minute or so to run. We should have about 7 million rows of data. So if we were to go back to the control flow, you can see a lot of different tasks that we could implement as well. So if you wanted to send an email to someone, or if you wanted to pick up the file and move it into an FTP server, or if you wanted to create a new folder and move the files there, there are a lot of different capabilities that you have to really automate your tasks here. So this is the end of the video. If you like this, the next video we're actually going to recreate this process in the R programming language, which if you're a data analyst, I highly recommend R, especially if you're getting started. I think R is easier to pick up than Python, but we'll go over all of that in the next video. Thank you.